Good morning, Natalie.
Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone. So we are thrilled to be here this morning because today we're going to talk about gut health. And I know that a lot of people don't think that they need gut health support.
They do.
And they do. And everything starts from the inside out. And I have to tell you guys a quick story because we have a special guest today that she's going to knock your socks off. And I have to tell you a story. So last year, I started getting really bad hot flashes. And I'm in my mid-40s, so I thought, is this menopause? I was getting hot flashes waking me up in the middle of the night. I just was sweaty and just hot flashes, the worst hot flashes. And anybody out there might have hot flashes. You might know what I'm talking about. And I saw Deb at an event, and I knew that she specialized on gut health. And I said, something's off. And I don't know if it's hormones. A lot of times we think it's hormones, but it's like Deb specializes in this. And so I said, Deb, I have so many hot flashes and I don't know what it is. And she said, literally just by talking to her, she said, did you go out of the country recently? And I said, yeah, I just went to Mexico. And she goes, you probably picked up a parasite. And I was like, what?
It always sounds so bad, but I think we all have them. I said, that sounds so bad, but I think we all have them.
Well, Deb's going to talk about this in a bit because what I've learned is we pick up parasites, we pick up stuff, and it wreaks havoc on our gut and on our overall health. And we might think it's this, but it's actually gut related. And so and when she comes on, we'll talk with her a little bit about it. But you guys, she literally changed my life because I went from thinking I'm going through menopause, I have all these hot flashes, I felt off. I meet with Deb. She does this scan on me. She puts me on, does this cleanse, which we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about this cleanse that she told me to do today. Plus, she put me on a specific nutritional cleanse as well. Like I was eating certain foods and eliminating other foods. And through Deb's guidance, you guys, I have not had hot flashes for over a year. And she was able to scan me and realize what was happening internally. And this just goes back to when we give our body the tools it needs, it can heal itself. And I'm so grateful Deb is here on our Coffee, Tea, and Healthy Me chat today. Stephanie, aren't you excited?
I am excited. And I can tell you're excited because you jumped right in. And let me back it up a little bit. I'm Stephanie Sanchez. This is
don't they know who you are if you're on your page?
We're being polite and saying hi. We are both dōTERRA wellness educators. We work with essential oils. It is our goal in life to get as many toxins out of our lives, our family lives, our earth, our friends' lives, anybody out there, and just sort of start spreading the word. We are a little bit crazy about it, and we're drinking in the morning. Mine's tea. Are you drinking this morning, Nat?
Tea with lemon.
It's tea. It's tea. If you know me, it's tea. There's nothing in it. There's no additives. But so every Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, we go live here and on our pages, and we try to bring you as much education from our very good friends as much as possible. And today we have Deb Hellman, who you've heard all about. So let's bring her in. Should we, Nat?
Yes, I'm so excited. Like, let's jump in because she's got a lot to share. And more about this topic than I do.
Oh, I think than anyone. Let's see. Let's find out. There she is. Morning, Deb.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. I've had so many questions since I posted that you were coming because you are a integrative nutritionist and a muscle activations techniques specialist.
Yes.
And they're like, what is that? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you until you guys got to tune in today to find out exactly what that is. But you're also a platinum leader with dōTERRA, so that's going to play a lot in our discussion today. So let's get started. Tell us what those things are.
Well, with muscle activation techniques, I help people come to me with pain. I don't chase the pain. I figure out the root cause if it's a soft tissue imbalance, and I help to just get the body back into balance with muscular manipulation. I send them home with exercises. They can maintain that and get back onto their busy and active lifestyles. And what Natalie was referring to that I do, and you don't have to come to see me to get a scan because both Natalie and Stephanie are super, super educated on how to help support their clients with the dōTERRA system that I'm going to share with you today. But if we'll go over it in the class, but if you are having like what Natalie described, hot flashes, if you're having brain fog, if you have joint aches and pains, if you're low energy, if you have trouble sleeping, if you find yourself being kind of excessively moody, or if you have anxiety or depression. I mean, understand right now, this pandemic has thrown us all for a bit of a loop in terms of our normal lifestyle. So I think all of us are running at a little bit higher level of anxiety. And that's to be expected. But if you would say overall that you're sort of finding yourself over the top anxious, it can often have a root cause in the gut. And that's what I want to share with you today, because there's so many things that we can do to get our bodies healthy. And then, as Natalie said, our bodies want to migrate towards like a healthy homeostasis. Every day it tries to bring you back into balance if you give it the right tools. Otherwise, you end up in a state of disease and illness. And I just want to share with you how you can manage this yourself and just really get back to some vibrant health. So, Natalie, if you're ready, we'll jump right into the slides. And Natalie's going to manage them for me because my technology skills while I'm teaching are not the greatest. We are going to talk about an essential oils and supplement protocol to basically get your gut back into balance. And what we know now, is that 70 to 80% of our immune system is managed in our gut. And we have more cells, foreign cells in our gut than we do just as our gut biome than we have in our entire body. Like all of our tissues that make up us as a person are outnumbered by what goes on in our guts. And that is what helps really control hormone production, our immune system, you name it. We manufacture a lot of vitamins, and I'll go over those details. But what I'm going to teach you today is what you can do to bring that gut back into a healthy balance to really boost your lifestyle in terms of health and wellness. So it's going to be based on dōTERRA's Cleanse and Restore Kit. And what I want to do is really simplify this whole process for you. So why would you do a gut cleanse? And you've probably heard of these, some people do like a apple cider vinegar and lemon cleanse. There's all different things on the market. dōTERRA's is extremely gentle. And we are going to talk about why to balance the gut, because the gut serves the role of both barrier and filter for keeping pathogens out of your bloodstream. And when the integrity of the intestinal lining is high and it's not excessively and overly permeable, it'll allow you to process difficult food, it'll allow you to absorb nutrients, and it'll help you to eliminate waste. And you know what, Natalie? We can do this where I'm just chatting and you don't even have to worry about the slides if you want, because I think that's fine with me. You pop in with the slide if you think people will want to take a screenshot of it.
I love the slides. I'm a visual person, so I'm all about slides.
Okay.
We'll pop them in and out.
Yeah.
So now.
Okay.
I'll follow your lead. I kind of know what's coming, so I'll follow your lead.
Perfect. And so the reason when we say cleanse, what we want to really do is we want to remove pathogenic bacteria. We want to remove those nasty parasites that Natalie was experiencing. And most of us have a lot of yeast overgrowth, especially if you have any history. And it doesn't matter if it was in the last 2 years or if it was as a child. I'm going to be 58 next week, and my parents were both MDs. And when I was a child, the big thing for them at that time, 50 plus years ago, was the advent of prolific use of antibiotics. And so if I just looked funny, they gave me an antibiotic, just so many courses of antibiotics. And we know now that one dose, forget the 10 days, 3 times a day that they typically prescribe, but one dose of an antibiotic is like napalm in your gut. And the wonderful colony and system that I told you that has more cells in it than your body has is obliterated. What we want to do is take away the bad guys and restore the good guys, because when we have more bad guys in there outnumbering the good guys, we've got illness and disease. So what happens when we remove them, it brings the body back into balance. It'll aid in the immune system, reduces chronic and systemic inflammation, restores hormonal balance. If any of you are dealing with skin issues, the skin is like a mirror of what's happening in your gut. So by skin issues, I mean acne, eczema, psoriasis, unexplained rashes. It'll clear the skin. It'll reduce anxiety and depression. It'll boost your energy and your sleep. It'll boost mental clarity and function. And that's a really big deal. We tend to think as we get older that foggy brain is normal, and it is not. You should be able to walk into a room and remember why you walked in there and what you came to get. It'll reduce stress on the gastrointestinal tract. So if you're having any acid reflux where you're sort of regurgitating stuff, or if you tend to bloat every time you eat, or you swing from diarrhea and constipation one extreme to the other, or if you just have a lot of bloating, it'll help reduce the stress on digestion. It'll improve metabolic function and digestive function. Interestingly, it'll also improve neuromuscular function, because when we have chronic inflammation, your muscles don't work very well. I know Natalie loves to run. I'm a runner. And when your gut is off balance, your muscles are not going to work effectively. So you're going to be more prone to injury, or you're just not going to feel like running because you know it's going to feel terrible. Anybody having sugar or junk food cravings, that's not you deciding that. That is yeast overgrowth hijacking your vagus nerve and telling your brain to make you go get some sugar. We want to stop that. We can reduce nutrient deficiencies by improving the availability and absorption of the nutrients that you do need to absorb. And here's a wonderful thing for us. It'll reduce fat storage. So, what we want to do also is take a look at overgrowth of bacteria and candida. So one of the most common things that we face, we're going to be on the candida slide, Natalie. Candida is normal in our bodies. It's just a benign sugar fermenting yeast. It's really harmless when it's just a single-celled organism, because it helps us. It's a food source for our good bacteria. Our good guys feed on small levels of fungus or candida in particular. And there's multiple strains of candida, but our good bacteria will eat those. It helps with producing vitamins, but it's only helpful if it's in very small amounts. It helps with synthesis of vitamins, specifically vitamin B, and enzymes, digestive enzymes. Now, when it overgrows, it becomes a parasite. And what that means is a parasite is someone who feeds on you. And it forms this web-like colony. So it goes from a single-celled structure to this really horrific looking creature. Picture like some horror movie. It changes the mucosal lining of your gut. It basically prevents you from absorbing nutrients. It robs the nutrients you have, and it contributes to chronic inflammation. If you've had someone tell you, or you know of someone who has fatty liver, and they're like, but wait a second, I don't drink alcohol, how can I have fatty liver? Excessive candida in your body can lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver. So that we want to stop, because that ends up causing liver deterioration. And liver is one of our huge excretory and elimination pathways in our body. We need to make sure that the liver is clear and functioning well. So regular deep cleansing of all of our elimination pathways, the liver, the kidney, the lungs, the colon, the lymph nodes, your blood, and your skin, will really help remove these pathogens. So it'll provide essential detoxification to improve the function of the gut, and it'll help reduce chronic and systemic inflammation, which is truly the root of all disease. So as I mentioned, the dōTERRA cleanse and detoxification program is very gentle, very safe. It's all plant-based and it's effective. And we have two different options. So the basic program is just a 30-day effort. It's not daunting. You don't have to feel like you're deprived of all the things you love to do. It's basic cleansing to restore homeostasis to the gut and the body. However, and very commonly, many of us have parasites that we're not even aware of. And parasites are insidious. Once they're in you, they don't just stay for a vacation and leave. They love the environment and they want to kind of root in and stick around. So how do you know if you have parasites? Well, I have a machine that will tell me, but again, I'm in Colorado and most of you are not. And so the way I describe it to people is, if you have had any foreign travel to an underdeveloped country in the past, and Natalie's was very recent, but it can be, 7 years ago, you went on a trip, and you haven't felt normal since then. And it doesn't happen necessarily immediately. You've all heard of like Montezuma's Revenge, where you get sick right away. Oftentimes, parasites can be slow going, and then all of a sudden you just start to feel yucky and you can't figure out why. So travel to underdeveloped countries. If your diet has included a lot of pork products, now I don't mean to bash the pork industry, but the way the pigs are raised and grown, they tend to pick up parasites themselves, and those parasites get in us when we eat their meat, and it's a specific type of a parasite that goes straight to your liver. It's a liver fluke. And again, remember I mentioned that liver is a major cleansing organ for us, and when it gets congested or occupied by these foreign invaders, it's not going to function well for us. So that's the second way you can get a parasite. And if you have a history of swimming in lakes, anywhere near where cattle are grazing, what happens is they poop and pee. It goes into the streams that feed the lake. You go water skiing, you get some water in your mouth. This happened to me all the time as a kid. In Arizona, where I grew up, we would go to those lakes, ski, and I'd come home with giardia. So those are really common ways to get parasites. The reason it's then a 50-day program is because during a phase of the cleanse, and I'll go through each of the phases, but we kill the adult parasites. And as they leave our body, they do the wonderful gift for us. They lay eggs. So as we finish our cleanse, we're all happy that we're done. Those eggs hatch and we have new parasites. So I know, it's horrible. I don't even like to think about it. But
I know that I did a 50-day cleanse, and because she told me that story, and it just grosses me out. But continue. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Interrupt me at any time you would like. So what we do is as soon as we finish the 30 days, we repeat the kill phase again, and I'll explain. So that's the main reason. Now, I'm sorry, mosquito just flew by. I'm sitting outside here. You can amplify the results of your cleanse by doing several things. And Natalie mentioned that I had her do a little bit of a diet modification. It's not like this lifelong change and you're going to have to give up everything you love. But your health, as she mentioned, really manifests itself from the inside out. So proper nutrition, getting exercise, making sure you're sleeping well, because your body recovers and regenerates only while you sleep. So when I was younger, it was sort of bragging rights to say, oh, I can get by on 4.5 hours of sleep a night. But we never give our body a chance to heal if we aren't sleeping well. So rest is critical. And stress management is also super important, because when we're under stress, we jack up our cortisol levels. And that increase in cortisol also changes the chemistry in your gut biome, so it can just tank your results and really set you back. The other key thing, and we have a number of classes talking about how to do this, but minimizing toxic load from our personal care products, our household cleaners, and environmental toxins is huge, because anything that gets on your body. Like, let's say you're using a cleaning product to clean a bathtub. Even if you're wearing gloves, you're breathing it. If you aren't wearing gloves, it's going in through your skin. Those are hormone disruptors and they're gut disruptors. So we like to have people minimize all these chemicals that go into our bodies, again, to help heal your gut. And here's the key then. Natalie's food list was a little bit different from this, just because I was able to do a direct scan with her and give her her exact foods that she had to avoid. But for those of you who just want the general inflammatory foods to cut out during the cleanse, and then consider only introducing if you absolutely are desperate to add them back in, because they're just good to avoid in general. Wheat and gluten. I know you've heard a lot about gluten-free diets. Everybody has lately. It wasn't as common 20 years ago, but we now know that the protein in gluten specifically disrupts the gut lining. So even if you don't have celiac disease and you don't think you have any sensitivity to gluten, when you ingest it, it'll ping your gut. Literally, it's like, think of the video arcade game Pinball and how that ball just kind of goes around. That's a visual way to think of what gliadin, the protein in gluten, does. It also creates a chemical that will disrupt the gut, but it'll create more permeability in perfectly healthy people for at least an hour, which will trigger inflammation. For someone who has more gluten sensitivity or full-blown celiac disease, one exposure can cause excessive permeability for up to 3 months. So that's significant exposure to inflammation. Grains are another big food category to consider avoiding, and primarily because, and I'll lump several things into this category. So grains, nuts and seeds, and legumes all have a protective coating for them in their environment to keep pests away, and it's a phytate. Now, when we buy commercially prepared nuts, seeds, grains, legumes, we cook them. Those phytates go into our body and disrupt our gut lining. So grains are important to avoid, at least during the cleanse, so that you can heal. Sugar, that's a pretty obvious one. That feeds yeast. And that's a biggie. If you want to really, really do well to cleanse your gut, you've got to get rid of sugar. And I know that's hard. Dairy products, a lot of them are filled with antibiotics, growth hormones. And then if the cows are eating grains, they're ingesting the phytates, you get them into your body. Corn mostly is GMO and is exposed to glyphosate, the Roundup, lovely chemical from Monsanto. And so when we ingest that, napalm for our gut. Eggs are a touchy subject because a lot of people love eggs. It's a protein source. It's inexpensive. Eggs, just for the cleanse, I would say step back, because what those chickens eat, again, grains can get right to you in terms of the bad chemicals. If you can manage to do the cleanse without eggs, that's ideal. If you are later going to add them, I recommend that you buy the ones that are pasture raised, no antibiotics, no hormones, and preferably if you can find some that are not, where the chickens are not fed grains. Caffeine is a biggie, and another controversial one. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have a question about chickens first.
Sure.
I have chickens.
Okay.
So if I'm monitoring what they're eating, is it okay for me to, is there something other than that? Or should I just go ahead and wing it and say, you know what, just don't eat those eggs?
So what, do you know the feed that you're giving them? Have you looked at what you're feeding them?
Yeah.
It's probably grain-based. My girlfriend here in Colorado Springs was able to find a food source, like somebody who creates feed that's based on no grains. But what she primarily feeds her chickens are organic vegetable scraps. And then she lets them graze her on, on her property where they're just eating grass and picking up little bugs out of the dirt. So those eggs are far less inflammatory, but it does take some effort. And that feed that she buys is definitely more expensive than regular feed. So, it probably would be a good idea during the cleanse to just step back from the eggs and then introduce them slowly afterwards.
I hear coffee and alcohol coming too. So just keep it coming.
You got it.
And also, real quick, I have a question with sugar.
Yeah.
Is that just processed sugar or all sugars, like fruit sugars too?
It's all sugar. Now that doesn't mean stop eating fruit, but be sensible. So for example, if you're going to make a smoothie in the morning, don't dump a ton of fruit in there because you're going to get a massive blast of sugar. Some fruits we know are much higher in sugar, like pineapple, watermelon, those are high sugar. Berries are typically lower. However, everybody's gut biome, this is another newer bit of knowledge. We know, for example, that let's just say carrots. We know carrots typically are high glycemic index, which means high sugar. But what we now know is depending on what our gut biome makeup is, like what our specific healthy bacterial profile is, that will allow us to digest foods, even if they're considered high glycemic index, differently. Everyone is individual. So for example, carrots don't spike my blood sugar, but grapefruit does. And grapefruit is low glycemic index. So that's a whole different ballgame. Just focus on not going overboard with fruit sugars. Also watch the honey, the maple syrup, agave syrup, and clearly the white processed sugar.
You're killing me.
I know.
But it's during the cleanse though. And that's the thing. It's like, it's just during the cleanse. And so when I did my 50-day cleanse, my hot flashes were so bad, I would do anything. I would give up sugar. I'll give up alcohol. I will give up all of it if it means I'm going to heal my body. So it's not forever, Stephanie. It's just temporary.
Right. But then again, once you heal your gut and you get rid of that candida overgrowth, that's what's driving the desire for sugar and the craving for coffee and things like that. Once you've healed, you're going to be like, I see sugar, candy bars, whatever sitting there, and I don't even want it. Like, it's such a mind shift that you'll be amazed. And that's something that I think is worth the investment, to give it give the cleanse a chance and then see where your thinking is. Caffeine is problematic because it's highly acidic, and that will again affect the gut lining. I mentioned the beans, the nuts, and the seeds. And what I do want to say is any of these grains after the cleanse that you want to use, nuts, seeds, if you will take the time to invest in soaking them in heavily salted water, depending on what it is, some are just for 6 hours, some for 24 hours. If you will do that full-on soak to strip the phytic acid off of them. Like, for example, I buy a big batch of almonds and I'll soak them for 24 hours in that heavily salted water. I then have, you'll see the gunk that comes off of them. And that will again affect the gut lining. I don't know what that is. Did you just hear that?
Yeah, I was trying to reply on our Facebook, but it fed back. So continue.
Okay. So when you soak this stuff, you'll just see the slimiest, most disgusting gunk after the soak. You rinse it like crazy, and then you've got nice soggy almonds. Well, what do you do with them? If you want something where you were going to grind them up anyway, who cares? But if you want crispy, crunchy almonds, you just dehydrate them, and you can throw them into your oven, stick a wooden spoon in the door to keep it open, to let the moisture out on a low temp, and just dry them out. So that's what one way to deal with them after the cleanse. Okay, all processed foods. Why? Because the synthetic chemicals are going to be a gut disruptor. So you're really going to be focusing on cooking whole foods, mostly plants, and any meats that you're going to ingest, you're going to make sure that they are clean. No antibiotics or growth hormones in them. Alcohol. Why alcohol? High sugar. big time gut disruptor. Tobacco, same thing, gut disruptor there. And then for some people, nightshades may be a problem, not for everyone. So, for example, if you eat eggplant and it gives you some tummy troubles, you're probably sensitive to nightshades. So,
Deb?
Yeah.
I only saw that on Nightmare Before Christmas. And I know tomato is a nightshade, but other than that, what's a nightshade?
So eggplant, tomato, bell peppers, any kind of peppers, onions, garlic. You can Google nightshades and it'll give you the whole list of the vegetables. And again, they don't bother everyone. So that's kind of an individual thing that you've just got to figure out. Okay. Any other questions about the list of things to kind of avoid?
Let me see. It was on this. That's it.
The other thing I would mention is that if you are taking synthetic hormones like birth control pills, those are gut disruptors. And there is a whole syndrome we now know for those who have been on, even if it was in your 20s and you're 45 years old now, if you have taken birth control pills, it's a good idea to do this cleanse, because the pill itself, even just like being on it for a week, is, again, one of those napalms for your gut. And that's obviously not listed in my food list, but it's something that we as women, many of us have taken. And I wish I could roll back time and change that. Okay.
It seems like a lot of these things that we need to eliminate, we all know we shouldn't be eating this, but those are the things that are really marketed to us, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's really marketed. And I know that a lot of marketing campaigns, it's there so they make money on their product, but they don't necessarily care what it's doing to your health. And that's why I think it's so valuable that you're here today with us, Deb, so that we can shine a light on this, because I have a friend that has fatty liver disease. I can't wait to share this with her, because she has no idea, and neither did I have an idea, that it's linked to candida and an overgrowth of yeast in your system. Like, I had no idea. So what is a doctor going to do? They're going to put a Band-Aid on it 9 times out of 10 instead of going through what we're going through today. So this is so valuable.
Yeah, and not to knock the medical profession. I told you my parents were both doctors, but every single person in my family is an MD. Aunts, uncles, my grandparents, sister-in-law, everybody is an MD. And they are taught to treat with a synthetic pharmaceutical. And I can tell you from my training, synthetic pharmaceuticals are gut disruptors. And so if we can heal, for example, fatty liver with plants, and I'm not talking, sit there and eat 73 pounds of spinach in a day. This is not what I'm talking about. But if we can cleanse that liver and reverse her fatty liver disease, her doctor's going to be astonished. And when she tells him how she did it, he may or may not believe her. I mean, they're not there yet. My dad told me at Harvard Medical School, and obviously he went to med school many, many years ago, but he said they had 1 hour of nutrition training in his entire medical school experience.
Wow.
I've talked to people who have recently graduated. They're not getting much more than that. And so it's not their fault. I look at food as either something that will put us into a state of disease, or it will be our medicine. And that's a good way to look at inexpensive healthcare can be done with diet. So let's go back to what this cleanse is all about. It is divided into 3 phases. So the first phase, and this is super, super important for any of you who have ever tried a cleanse before or done anything like this, you have to make sure that those elimination pathways, the ones I mentioned, are cleared. Because if you try to dive in and start killing these pathogens, when your elimination pathways are clogged or congested, those pathogens will just keep circulating in your body and make you sicker. So we do not want that to happen. So this program is very cleverly designed. You're going to spend the first 10 days activating those excretory detox pathways so that they can handle the toxic load that is going to be created with die-off when we start to kill the pathogens, the harmful bacteria, the yeast, and the parasites, and when we remove the toxic debris. So if you think about it, if you are gonna, sorry, these bugs are making me crazy. If you are going to kill stuff in your body, picture lots of little dead carcasses that have to be removed. Lots and lots and lots of them. So we've got to make sure that these pathways are clear to get them out of your body. And so we're going to focus for 10 days on flushing those organs out. And we're going to do that with some targeted supplements. And I'll describe each one of them. And then lemon in our water. And I'm not talking lemon squeezed from a lemon. I'm talking something 70 times more potent. And that's just the lemon oil, which is cold pressed from the rind. Okay. The second phase is the reset phase. And that's basically the big kill phase. We're going to be killing all of these harmful pathogens. We're going to have die-off, and one can experience, it's called a Herxheimer reaction, but you don't need to remember that. It's just when you have massive die-off for some people, and it really depends on the person. I don't think Natalie really dealt with this, but if you clear those organs well, the worst you're going to have is maybe a day or two of feeling like you've got like a mild flu. You're not going to have a fever, but you just may feel a little sluggish, a teeny bit achy, and then it'll pass. And that's the message to you that you're effectively killing things off. If you don't feel it, that's ideal. And the more you can rest, manage your stress, and eat well, the minimal those side effects will be. The final phase is the renew phase, and that's when we're really going to blast the gut with good bacteria to boost cellular health and function. So each of these phases is a 10-day deal. Well, and if you're looking at that, that's 30 days. For those who have suspected parasites, we're just going to repeat immediately on day 31 the reset phase for 10 more days, and then we're going to repeat the renew phase. So that's the extra 20 days. So that's how it starts. Now, the foundation for the cleanse is the Lifelong Vitality Trio. What I love about this is it is whole foods, it's plants and essential oils. So there's no fillers or synthetics, which tend to be inflammatory triggers. And I have been a supplement user for probably almost 40 years, way before dōTERRA existed as a company. And I was buying what I felt were the top of the line supplements, but any commercially available supplements are often loaded with synthetics and fillers, and I had an autoimmune reaction way before dōTERRA existed as a company. And I was buying what I felt were the top. Sorry. Did that happen on my end, Natalie? No? Okay. So anyway, I had an autoimmune reaction. I mentioned that I do muscle activation techniques, which is a lot of hands-on work with my clients. And my knuckles blew up. My skin broke open. They were so swollen. My dad ran a blood test and he was like, "Oh, bummer for you. You've got rheumatoid arthritis." And I thought, okay, that's crazy because that's an autoimmune disease. The treatment is to go on biological medication for the rest of your life to keep the inflammation down. Well, from my training, I know that you cannot have an autoimmune disease of any kind unless you have an underlying presence of leaky gut, excessive gut permeability. And so I just said to him, let me just try to change this up because it's obviously something I'm eating. And he said to me, well, your diet is so clean, I can't imagine it's food related. And that's when I looked at these supplements I was taking and I was like, oh my gosh, I know nothing about how these are produced. I know they're probably, because they're like big, high mega doses, probably they're synthetic because you have to have a high synthetic dose to absorb just a teeny little bit because we can't absorb synthetics. And so anyway, net, I stopped all of those. I switched over to dōTERRA supplements, basically this Lifelong Vitality Trio, plus a couple of others. And within 2 weeks, my joints were going back to normal. Took a little bit longer for my skin to heal. A month later, I went back in for another blood test. No more rheumatoid arthritis. So imagine if I just didn't have the knowledge or the patience to try this out, I would be on medication today for something that was fixable. So that's what I highly recommend. These vitamins provide the key nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and essential fatty acids to ensure proper metabolic function, not only during the program, but this is something that you'll stay on even after the cleanse. Because they are whole food and plant-based, they are completely bioavailable, which means absorbed by your body without any pass-through. You're just going to take it all in, and it's exactly what you need. And these three work synergistically. They help reduce pain and inflammation. They reduce stress and anxiety, which we know is important. They increase your energy. They'll help improve sleep. And they're a huge boost to the immune system. So this is kind of the foundation for any protocol with dōTERRA, but key to the cleanse. Okay, so here we go. We're going to talk about the individual products. Lemon oil is a major detoxifier. It's going to help flush that debris out of your body. Now, when using this lemon oil, and only dōTERRA, which is medical grade and recommended for internal use, you don't want to just go to the grocery store and pick up a lemon oil, because that is going to have synthetics and fillers in it. This is going to help flush the kidneys, the liver, and the lymph, and it's going to help reduce water retention. And for me, I love lemon, so it helps inspire me to drink more water. But you want to be super careful. This can only go into a metal or a glass bottle or container, because if you put it in plastic, it's such a powerful detoxifier that it is going to pull the toxins right out of the plastic, and we don't want you to ingest the plastic toxins. Now, for my clients, most of them are really active, like they're doing some form of exercise every day. And you guys in Nevada have a very hot climate, hot and dry, just like us here in Colorado. I recommend that people drink 75% of their body weight in ounces of water spaced evenly throughout the day if you are active. If you never exercise, then make sure you're getting at least 50% of your body weight. Try to get that done a couple of hours before bedtime so that having to go to the bathroom won't disrupt your sleep, because again, we've got to get good quality sleep. Okay, one of my favorite parts of this cleanse, and something that I use religiously, is the TerraZyme. This is a digestive enzyme capsule with hydrochloric acid. So this helps to break down your food so that you cannot have sluggish digestion. What happens as we age, and age, sadly, ladies, is defined as being over 20. So if you're over 20 years old, and I know, I'm sorry, I plan to live a very long time, but if we're over 20, and if we've had any pregnancies, and you can do the math on this, I have 5 kids, but I've only been pregnant 3 times. I've got 2 sets of twins. That starts making your body produce, well, it just happens. You produce fewer digestive enzymes and less hydrochloric acid. So what happens is when you eat anything, the food just tends to sit there and doesn't break down rapidly and effectively into easily absorbable little nutrients. If anybody has, for example, acid reflux, where they are feeling that heartburn, that is not from too much acid, contrary to what the manufacturers of the antacids and the beta blockers want you to believe. That the proton pump inhibitors, that is under producing hydrochloric acid, so that food sits and ferments and then regurgitates up. So when we take these, we're going to handle a myriad of digestive issues. You're going to be moving things through your system faster. And what I love about it is it also helps to break down the debris that's in your gut that can become pathogenic. So it will prevent that fermentation, and fermentation feeds yeast. The yeast loves it when we've got that slow moving digestion. So you'll be taking the TerraZyme digestive enzymes throughout the cleanse. But then this, in addition to that lifelong vitality trio of vitamins, this is something that I take religiously. So I take it before any time I'm going to put any food in my mouth. 1, 2, or 3 capsules, depending on what I'm eating. Okay, the next is the Zendocrine complex. This is what is going to help cleanse those excretory organs. So it is, again, foundational throughout the cleanse. It's got a patented enzyme delivery system, so it's going to be very, very gentle on the body. And we want to make sure that we have healthy cleansing of those excretory organs. So as I mentioned before, keeping everything flushed. There's another product also called Zendocrine, but this is in a soft shell. And this is a mixture of essential oils that help support the functioning of the liver, the kidneys, the colon, the lungs, and the skin. And it's a blend of tangerine, rosemary, geranium, juniper berry, and cilantro. And you can also continue to take this after the cleanse. This is in my vitamin pill distributor in my evening dose every day, because I just, every once in a while, you just don't know what you may be exposed to. And this just helps to detox, including, let's say you go on a long road trip this summer and you're getting a lot of highway fumes. This can help get those toxins out.
Deb, you take one of these a day?
I do. During the cleanse, you're going to take them more frequently, but I add this to my protocol. I take one at night. You bet. Okay, next one. This is the GX Assist is what helps kill pathogens. So this is gentle and potent, and it's going to create a really unfriendly environment for those pathogens in your digestive tract. It's an essential oil blend with caprylic acid. So the oils in it are oregano, melaleuca, lemon, lemongrass, peppermint, and thyme. And the caprylic acid, if you've heard of, some coconut oil can be healthy for you. Too much can upset you. This is the component in coconut oil that is super helpful to keep the microbial balance intact in the way it should be. So you will take 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on your tolerance level, during the kill phase, which is the second phase of the cleanse. And for those of you who want to kill parasites, you'll do it again. So this is the bad boy. And if you've learned anything about essential oils, oregano and melaleuca in tandem work really effectively to kill bacteria, to kill viruses. It's potent, but it is not going to make you feel like you're taking something heavy-duty toxic. Okay, another amazing product from dōTERRA. Highly unusual the way they've packaged this. The PB Assist Plus is our probiotic, and it is a combination of prebiotic fiber and then 6 strains of probiotic microorganisms. And if you've ever bought probiotics at the store before, you'll notice that the higher the colony forming units listed on the bottle, the more expensive it is. But when it's not designed to get to your intestines, when you ingest them, 95% of those colonies are going to be killed the minute they hit your stomach. So you'll only get 5% delivery of the probiotics to your intestines. So what's really cool about this is it's timed released and it's double encapsulated. So those sensitive cultures are protected. They can travel through the stomach environment and get to your intestines so that 100% of the 6 billion little critters can get to your intestine where it needs to go. So that outer capsule opens in your stomach and releases the prebiotic fiber that feeds the good bacteria, and the inner capsule travels all the way to the intestine. So it's going to help boost digestive and immune system function and gastrointestinal tract function. We take this only during that 3rd rebuilding phase, or the 3rd and the 5th phase if you're doing the 50-day portion. Now, the DDR Prime soft gels are an essential oil recovery complex, and this is going to boost the renewal phase It's going to promote a healthy response to free radicals, support healthy cellular function, boost our immunity, and support a healthy response to oxidative stress. And it's a blend of frankincense, wild orange, lemongrass, thyme, summer savory, clove, and niaouli. And during the cleanse, you're going to take this during that third phase and potentially the fifth phase. But Natalie, this is another one that I take daily. And it
How
is
many?
also I take one in the morning and one at night. And this is something that is also super beneficial during this kind of highly contagious time frame, because the thyme, THYME, that is in here is also a huge immune boost and an antiviral. So it's just another tool in your toolbox to help support your immune system. Now,
yeah.
we have
You say the highly, what did you say? When we're going through this, and you said there's sometimes when we're not going to feel well, is that going to affect our immunity considering everything else that's going on? Is there a better time to do this or not? Can you address that?
That's a really good question. If your gut is kind of polluted, if you're dealing with any of these symptoms we've talked about, and they can be mild, if you're dealing with any type of gut disruption, your immune system is compromised. So I would say I would not tell you to avoid doing the cleanse now because of the pandemic. I would say continue being smart when you go out in public. In Colorado, most places we have a mandatory mask rule. I don't know what you guys have.
Same.
Okay. There's controversy over the masks. You can read anything you want on the internet. You wearing a mask is protecting other people. Them wearing a mask is protecting you. So be safe, be smart, wash your hands frequently. Try to avoid the commercially available hand sanitizers because they disrupt the little biome that's on your hands. That's your first barrier of defense to not let pathogens in your body. I'm living off of the On Guard hand spray because it'll kill anything that is on my hands or that gets on my hands. And it's really, really effective, but only if you use it. And so during this cleanse, if you're going to do the cleanse now and you're going out in public, continue to do your smart protective measures. And don't wash your hands with antibacterial stuff. Just get rid of that because that's going to increase your susceptibility to getting sick. Okay? The next little nugget, and this is not something that comes in the package if you order this kit altogether, but I love to recommend for people to add the turmeric dual chambered capsule because it is a combination of both the certified pure therapeutic grade oil, and by that I mean medical grade oil that can be ingested, and the turmeric extract. So you get both. You get the turmerones and the curcuminoids in a synergistic delivery system. So just like the probiotic, the outer capsule will open in your stomach and release the essential oil. The curcuminoids in the herbal form need to be delivered to your intestines to be effective. And so you'll get that with this dual chambered delivery again. Together, these two components are 11 times more potent than when you take either the oil or a capsule of turmeric from, let's say, the natural grocery store singly. It is antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial. It'll boost cellular and immune health. This is key. It reduces high blood sugar and high cholesterol. And when we have high blood sugar, we can be pre-diabetic, but we can also feed yeast, and we don't want to do that. And this will help keep your blood and your lymph and your liver happy. So I love to add this. I'm sure dōTERRA at some point will add this to the kit, but that's a good one to consider adding. And then the other one, if you're interested in losing weight, not everyone does a cleanse to lose weight, but some of us want to lose weight. The Slim and Sassy, either the soft gels or the essential oil, they're both the same. The soft gels just are the oil in an easily taken capsule. That'll help to manage hunger and curb the appetite and sugar cravings. It'll boost your metabolism. It helps to aid in digestion just because of the essential oils, grapefruit, lemon, peppermint, ginger, and cinnamon. It's just an added cleanse, and it'll provide a stimulating and positive effect on your endocrine system. So if that is something that you want to consider doing, you can just add this to the protocol. Okay, now this sounds like a lot, but we have put it together in a really easily manageable format. And Natalie and I have a very close girlfriend who's a graphic wizard. And I had put this together in a spreadsheet that was really boring and dry. And she took my spreadsheet and made this amazing little check sheet. We have it on 2 slides because it's kind of big, but it's literally a 1-page PDF that I gave to Natalie to post. And it'll tell you what you do morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and evening throughout the whole program. And then, Natalie, if you pop to the second page, it'll tell you what to do, like where you repeat, what products you repeat if you're doing the 50-day version. So if you'll notice, there's 3 columns. There's activate, reset, and renew. Each one is a 10-day program. All you're going to do simply, if you want to kill those parasites, is you're going to finish your 30 days and then you're going to go right back to day 11 and repeat days 11 to 30 as your days 31 to 50. And what you can do, what I recommend that you do, for those of you who listen to this call, let either Stephanie or Natalie know what your top health concerns and your top goals are. And if it sounds like you're a candidate for doing this cleanse, the best way to get the kit is to not buy the products individually. You can pay less for them, because when dōTERRA bundles their products as a kit, it waives the enrollment fee, and you get the oils and the supplements at below wholesale pricing. So that's really the best way to do it. If you're already involved with dōTERRA, then you can still order the kit and it'll be less expensive. And if you already have some of the products, you can definitely get them a la carte. But this is what I recommend to my clients to do. And most of us, truly, most of us need to look at the 50-day version. Okay.
Deb, I have a question.
Good.
Somebody texted a question. They wanted to know, as far as this kit, is this complete for the whole 30 days, or is this something you're going to have to continue to purchase? Is everything complete?
Okay, that's a great question. So based on how the protocol is designed, the kit comes with 1 bottle of the digestive enzymes. I recommend for 30 days that you get a second bottle. If you're going to do the 50 days, you might need 2 extra bottles, because you're going to take 1 Terrazyme in the morning, 1 at night, and then either 1, 2, or 3 every time you eat. So you're going to go through those Terrazyme more rapidly than the other products. Additionally, remember I mentioned that the foundation for just a super healthy lifestyle is to stick with those lifelong vitality vitamins. Many of you know that dōTERRA is the largest essential oil company in the world. They reached $2 billion in sales faster than Apple did when they reached their first $2 billion, which is pretty impressive when you think that we're selling inexpensive bottles of oil and they're selling expensive cell phones and computers. This is a very rapidly growing company. We're in over 120 markets worldwide. That being said, their number 1 product is the Lifelong Vitality Trio of vitamins. And there is a 30-day money-back guarantee on this, Stephanie. So my really strong recommendation is people do the cleanse and then stay on those vitamins. If you don't notice the difference in how you feel after being on the vitamins for 30 days, you can send the empty bottles back to dōTERRA and they'll give you your money back. Nobody does it because these are just amazing. So I would recommend getting the cleanse kit, getting 1 or 2 extra bottles of Terrazyme, adding the turmeric dual chambered capsules if you want an extra cleansing boost and the extra help with a reduction in inflammation. And then for those who may be looking at weight loss goals, they can add the Slim and Sassy. Now, that being said, if you go online today, we are out of Terrazyme. But my inside information last week was that it will be available mid to late July. So you can order the kit today and it will likely ship without the Terrazyme. And that's okay because it'll ship separately. So it won't, that's only if you order the kit. Now, the system will not let you today add extra bottles of Terrazyme. But for those who want to do this, I recommend that they get in touch with you, come up with a plan. Natalie will definitely get the scoop immediately when the Terrazyme is back in stock. I mean, she'll get a text from doTERRA, and then boom, you guys can place your orders. That's probably the best way to do it. And then I keep a back stock myself. Like I always order extra Terrazyme. I keep extra probiotics in stock. Things got a little wonky with the worldwide pandemic because we, as a company, doTERRA keeps a year of stock of everything. And within a couple of days, they were wiped out of many products. And so just, lesson learned, I have extra of some of these on hand myself. I'm going to be low by the time another couple of weeks come up for my Terrazyme, but things that you just need to have daily, I just recommend people get a couple of extra bottles. Not to spread fear, but just because I don't think we're going to see this going away anytime soon. And so we've experienced some inventory outages, and doTERRA then puts production teams into play 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to bring the inventory back. So a long answer to your question.
No, I think that's great. And there was others that have talked about vitamins. And when Natalie and I are teaching class, unfortunately, what we have in common is our mothers that passed from cancer and understanding what it means to chase the pain and all the medication that they had to take. And you either take it to feed your body or you're going to take it to poison your body because the doctors always say it's the cure that's going to take them. And it was the cure that finally took my mom because her body could not take that kind of medication anymore. So in talking about how people feel, and you said, as doTERRA does, if you do not feel better in 30 days, they'll give you your money back. I've not had anybody take their money back, but I also try to stress and understand, if we're not being silent and we're not listening to our bodies, we don't know what's going on, and our body cannot do what it's supposed to do if we're not giving it the fuel. And so I did this cleanse the first time I did it and I thought, well, I don't know what that was. I didn't feel anything. So and then later when I got a little more in tune with my body and trying to get in alignment, then you listen to your body, and I realized what the difference was. So the second time I did the cleanse, it was an amazing feeling of that's what I'm looking for, because feeling that energy, I was just not used to it. We sort of get used to that crud when we wake up in the morning, or the aches when we wake up in the morning, and we dismiss them and don't understand that it's our body working overtime trying to fix all the crap we've been giving it instead of letting it do its job and protect us.
Yeah. And also, I'm not sure how you handled your nutritional approach when you did the cleanse the first time. Yeah. I can tell you that as much as this, I have people roll their eyes when I tell them this and they fight me on it. But if you really want to heal, I look at this as a blip in time over the long course of the many years of healthy years you have ahead of you. It's a tiny sacrifice to make. And I mean, look at it realistically. I don't know about you guys, but how about when we went to the grocery store, the shelves were half empty for the last few months. We've learned to live without some of our what we considered necessities, and so it's similar to that. Like maybe you can't get the exact thing that you want in the grocery store. Okay, you were okay. Just look at the short list of things to eliminate. Dive in, embrace it as a confidence boosting thing that you can do. On the other side of this, your health and vibrancy. I mean, look at Natalie. To me, Natalie is contagiously energetic. I mean, I just want to be around her and have her get whatever she has all over me. And that's not how she was when she came to me. I mean,
oh, did we lose her?
Can you guys still hear me?
There she is.
Okay, there you are. I've always known Natalie to be just this little ray of sunshine and a love bubble. But when she was sick, she was drooping. And she tried to be her normal self, but now she's back. And I know she's not going to let that happen again. You can jump, like, let's say, I'm not telling you don't travel to an underdeveloped country. Go for it. But just know what you may need to do when you get back. Jump right in and don't let pathogens get the best of you. And I'm not telling you to be perfect. If you have a bad day, and you go to some barbecue and you have some alcohol and you eat some junk food, it's not the end of the world. But get back on track, clean things out. Like I said, I take that DDR Prime and the Zendocrine soft gels every single day because I just want to keep my detox going. I don't take GX Assist every day, and that's not something you can do. You can't just say, I'm going to do 10 days of GX Assist, because you've got to make sure that you can support the toxic debris and make sure those elimination pathways are clear. I can't emphasize that enough. And I think that's why a lot of people have failed attempts at cleanses, or they just don't notice any difference, because if you're not able to detox, you don't get a detox.
And two, I feel, I mean, this is such valuable information, Deb, and I'm so grateful you're here. But all the things that I'm listening to today and I'm taking notes, a lot of this gut health can wreak havoc on our emotions. And I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but here we are in this stressful place with stressful things on the news, and we're eating crap and we're sad and we're stressed and we're angry, but doesn't it have a direct impact on our brain?
That's a fantastic point, and I only touched on it lightly. So in your gut, they used to think that our hormones that affect our emotional health were produced in our brain. 90% of them are produced in our gut. So you've heard of serotonin. That's the happy hormone. It's very soothing. You've heard of dopamine. All of these are brain neurotransmitters, the majority of which are produced in our gut. Now, remember when I was mentioning to Stephanie that when she kind of groaned when I said cut back sugar? It's not Stephanie wanting sugar. That yeast in her gut is literally hijacking her vagus nerve. And if you think of the vagus nerve, it is a two-way highway from the gut to the brain. So the gut tells that nerve to send a message to the brain. The brain is also signaling right back to the gut. And so if your gut is off balance, your moods are likely going to be off balance. So I can help people reverse anxiety and depression really effectively. Like, it's not the initial thing that you notice, but when you come out of this, your husband may say to you, oh my gosh, you seem so chill today. What's going on? Like, my husband noticed in me 5 days into the pandemic, I mean, I was strung out. I was stressed. I had my kids at home full time. I mean, it was not normal in my house. And just paying attention to my gut. Now, obviously, in 5 days, I didn't whip out a cleanse and get done with it. But using the adaptive system, another product from dōTERRA, watching my foods and not letting a slippery slide go on, I was just so much calmer. And like Natalie, I'm pretty type A. I can be kind of like, I don't know, I can be pretty intense in hopefully a good way. But when that intensity becomes pathological and you make everybody want to leave the room, that's not okay. So yes, it's a two-way street between the gut and the brain. And Much better than taking medications. And I'm not telling, this is not me telling you to go off any medications that you take for stress or anxiety or depression. You've got to work with your doctor to do that. But if you are on those and you clean up your gut, you are highly likely to be able to go in, have a visit with your doctor, and see about making some changes, because you're going to feel so much better.
Wow. This is so good. Like
This is a 5-parter.
Hopefully we can, well, Deb has a whole other presentation on solving leaky gut, which is an advanced version of this, right? So maybe we can have Deb on in a couple months, because I know you're in Breckenridge with your family. I know that you're enjoying this beautiful day, and here you are giving us and our friends watching this your heart and your knowledge, and Deb, we just appreciate you so much. And you literally have changed my life. And I know that sounds so cliche or crazy, but you guys, I was in a funky place when I picked up those parasites. And we just happened to be at the same event, and I just gravitated towards her because I knew that's what she specialized in. And she was able, with her knowledge and her passion and her servant heart, she was able to help my body, help educate me on how to heal my body and how to listen to our body, right? Like,
that's so important.
Listening, going, something's off and I need help healing it. I don't necessarily want to shut my body up, because I feel like we shut it up a lot, like, shh, but no, I don't want to shut it up. It's speaking for a reason. I want to hear it out, and I want to give it what it needs to heal. And that's what you did for me. So you've changed my life forever. And now your time today, I'm sure, has impacted a lot of other people as well.
Well, it's been my pleasure. And Natalie, I'll do anything for you, because you know I adore you. And it was a pleasure to talk to all of you today. Remember to reach out to Stephanie and Natalie, because they've got the scoop. They've got the resources for you. And you can do this. And it's not normal to feel lousy. Don't accept that. Many doctors will even say that's just a factor of aging, but it is not true. And you can feel so much better, and then just get back to living.
Yeah.
100%.
And I always say healthier people are happier people. And it's true. Now that we have dug into the gut-brain connection, right? It's
right.
True.
Well, there's so much.
And my favorite, Audra will tell you, my favorite thing to say is that evidence defeats disbelief. This program will give you the evidence, and you will change the way you think. And that's amazing.
Wow.
Thank you. I guess we should let our friends go, because we've been on for over an hour, but an hour packed with education and hope.
And we're going to drop some stuff below in our comments as well.
Yeah.
So for a little bit of follow-up, because we've got some studies coming up as well, if you want to take part in this. And I think I'm going to have to do this cleanse right. So if anybody wants to do it with me and go on this journey, I think we're probably going to do that as well.
Thank you for the time. Sorry to take so much of it.
No, It's perfect. I wish we had more.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Love you. Thank you so much. Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Deb. That was a lot of information.
Awesome. Oh, we're still live. Okay, great. I'm glad we're still live, because we totally forgot to talk about the studies coming up. So this is a nice little intro into essential oils.
We're getting at this. That was a nice, what do you call it? Segue. It's a segue. Hey, how about those studies, Nat?
We're something. Yeah. So Stephanie, thanks for bringing that up. I started getting so engulfed with what she was saying. I was like, oh, that's right. We forgot. We have a ton of events coming up, but we have an essential oil study. So if you are struggling with sleep, stress, digestive issues, or pain, you can pick one study to be in, and we will give you essential oils for free to try for 7 days. And we just ask for your feedback before and after. And when you finish it, you get a prize. So we'll put that link below as well.
A prize, yeah. All that links are below. We've gone way over, but I don't care. That's what we get to do.
But gut health, it's kind of like what Deb said. It's like, if you're feeling crappy, would you rather feel crappy the rest of your life, or take 50 days to reset your gut and have this whole new lease on your physical health, your energy, your emotional health? I mean, I think it's worth it 100 times over. I mean, she changed my life. I literally physically felt ill. And so then it did make an impact on my energy and on my emotions. It really did. And then you heal your body and then you're able to like, it's powerful.
I know. It's powerful. It's going to work. All this, see all this right over here? Oh, I'm going to have to leave that alone for a whole month.
It needs to go bye-bye for just a couple months. It's okay. Okay. So you were asking who's on next week. You know, we have not solidified our next week guest. I have a couple though. Falls out. So
we are definitely going to redo Lisa Chiplak because she was our first show. That's why this was episode 2. I'm not counting Lisa's. We're going to redo with her because we had some technical difficulties, and we're going to bring her back because everything she had was crazy.
Yeah.
Information. Powerful.
Yes. And that's our goal, is just to come on live and just empower you guys, like help you. And Stephanie, thank you so much for this concept and this idea. Coffee, tea, healthy me. Grab your coffee or your tea if you're on a cleanse, and come in inspired.
Can you high five? Bam! See, we got it right this time. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
And it's going to be exciting. All right. Bye for now.